Hello, and it's back to our Trailblazers Uncut, where I have a general chit chat with some of our most amazing female entrepreneurs. And it's all proper talk, down to earth, about challenges, no bullshit. And today I am so happy to be with Maxine Laceby from Absolute Collagen. And she's very much given me her time today, which I massively appreciate. So thank you, Maxine.
Coral, I would do anything for you. And I'm not just saying that. Your energy is infectious. And what you do for women in business is phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. But we're not here to talk about me today. Anybody listening in says thank God for that. They've all tuned in to hear about you and Absolute Collagen. But before we get into that, I just want to ask you, Kilimanjaro. So you now are a Kili aficionado, just like me. So how was it?
Do you know, it was wonderful. So we did the long way around, 7 days, which you can do 3, 5, 7, but make sure we acclimatise. I loved all that. As you know, some of the climbing you won't get away with in the UK, health and safety, it's like that and scary. And I loved all of that. The last day made camp 3 in the afternoon. And then we all had a rest, then started ascending at midnight to get to the top. It was not as bad as when you were there, because I know it was really, really cold, -19 when you were there. But it was cold, it was hard. And coming down, absolutely fine. That took 13 hours. It was a big group, 28 of us. And then when we went to move on to the next camp, I fell, got helicoptered off, collapsed lung, broken ribs. Well, when I went to the hospital in Tanzania, they said there's nothing wrong with me. So I got 3 flights home because it was obviously broken up the journey. And then when I got home, I went to the hospital and I had a collapsed lung and I should never, ever have flown. So apparently I'm lucky to be alive. They reckon how I got away with it was because I'd acclimatized slowly. I fell at 4,500 meters, which is base camp, and my body was used to working with little oxygen. So I got away with it. And that was about, what, 5 weeks ago. Broken ribs, still got broken ribs. My shoulder's quite healed. I got my lung sign off on Thursday. And I still do it again. I still think it was wonderful. And when you know yourself, when you do those things, there's a risk to everything, right? But I'm here to tell the tale. So in answer to your question, it was wonderful. And boy, have I got a story.
I couldn't believe it when I saw that you had the helicopter. I missed out on the helicopter, but I'm actually not jealous.
Well, hilariously. So I'm doing 60 things before I'm 60 next year. And I was in the helicopter going, 60 things before, because I was in agony and I'd never been in a helicopter before. So
oh dear. Well, Kilimanjaro, I know, has lots of challenges, but it is amazing. Once you've done it, you're like, for me now, it's like, it seems surreal. I sort of think, did I really do that?
I think it's amazing. And I do think we're pretty capable. And I think the older you get, we got stamina, right? And I just think my favorite place is being outdoors, shorts, backpack, no makeup. That's my happy place. Not shorts at the top of Kilimanjaro, of course. That's rather cold. But yeah, I loved it.
Did you have the glaciers at the top when you looked over? Yeah.
Well, it was really bad view. We couldn't see much, but it was still really good. Really loved it.
Yeah, it is experience. And I think when we did ours, it was 25 mph winds, -19. It's pitch black. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I could literally only just about move my leg. So each time was taking a step was really hard work. It was very challenging. But you find that strength from somewhere, don't you?
You do. And I don't know about you, because if you were -19, my fingers were really hurting. And we were probably only about -5. So gosh knows how you coped, because I don't like the cold.
No, I am a warm-weathered girl. I like the beach, the sea, hill walking. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't have done Kilimanjaro. But yeah, -19 was pretty tough, and I got windburn on my lips and all my lips burnt and everything. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
I'll tell you what I coped with better than I thought. I'm not precious about accommodation. I'm quite happy doing tents and 5-star. or 3-star. I like to mix it up. And I thought, how am I going to cope in a tent when it's very, very rocky? As you know, there's still rocks. But actually, I mean, you're so exhausted anyway. And you go to bed really early anyway, don't you? So I found that okay.
To be honest, it was so cold when we were there. The tent was covered in ice when I got out of bed some mornings.
Oh
But
no.
I was actually quite pleased because I'm going through menopause.
Yeah,
I'm like really hot in bed. So I actually slept better there at
I
minus
love it.
however many in a sleeping bag than ever before. It was brilliant.
And you get
Um,
loads and loads of tips and things to take. And I did everything you said, and that really helps. So if anyone's doing something like this, always reach out to somebody that's done it and get some good tips.
yeah, good. Well, I'm glad it helped. And talking about tips, we're talking about challenges in our Kilimanjaro efforts, but and how we have to dig deep. But we have challenges in our lives all the time, don't we? We're both run businesses. I've got to say mine is a micro business compared to your amazing, massive, absolute collagen business. But I know you will have had challenges and had to dig deep along the way. So can you tell us about some of those challenges and maybe pass on some tips?
Yeah, do you know, it's really funny. I have to, some people ask me this question and I have to really think what were the challenges, because you forget.
I
And
think that's because you just get on with them, you do it, and then it's on to the
yeah, you
next.
just get on with it. My thing is I don't fear. I'm a doer, and that's come from my childhood. And I just, if something's got to be done, I just get no one else to do it, right? You have to do it. And I've grown with Absolute Collagen. So it wasn't a 30 million pound business on day one. It was like everybody else, just one sell of one product. And I grew with the business. And there's always challenges. And I always say to people, business shouldn't be difficult. The signposts are all there. Everything you need legally, have to pay tax, never cut corners, do things properly. It's hard work. And you've got to be prepared for that. I think the biggest challenge for me was nobody believed in me or my product. I was a happy stay-at-home mum, and a very fortunate to be a happy stay-at-home mum from the age of 25. And I didn't start Absolute Collagen until in my early 50s. And we'd created a formula in our kitchen. We were launching it into a market that didn't exist with no business experience. Darcy, my daughter and co-founder, was fresh out of uni. I get why people gave us a wide berth. But that, on one hand, that was really frustrating. But on the other hand, I always take a positive from a negative, always.
Mm-hmm.
The positive I took from that is we went under the radar. And nobody noticed us till we were 10 million, 15 million pound business. And that was good because we went right under the radar and we just got on with the job in hand. And other challenges were, we were creating a supplement. So I think this is where women are so, so good. I just pick up the phone to Food Standards and say, I want to create this supplement. I don't know what I'm doing. And they were really, really helpful. People will help. You've got to have the courage to stand by a product. I knew the product was brilliant. I knew it worked. And that was always been my point of reference. The product works. And being able to pick up the phone, being able to ask questions, because I'm not a business person and there's lots of things I don't understand. And I will ask questions time and time again. And as I said, we've all grown with the business. There's still challenges today. They're just different.
Yeah, but you had investment into your business as well, didn't you, Maxine?
Yeah. So
we hear a lot of talk, obviously, with the Evas and the fact that I work in a women's world. I'm constantly surrounded by women, and I hear them always talk about the difficulty they get trying to get investment and the little amount of investment that is made in female businesses. How did it happen for you? How was your journey into that? Was it challenging or?
So our journey was relatively straightforward, and I hate saying that. So what happened was back in 2019, I went to the Alison Rose review. She'd been commissioned by the government. Where are the female founders? Where are they?
Yeah, I was part of the Rose review.
Oh, Alison Rose, who was CEO of NatWest. Brilliant. I went along to she was reading her findings, and I went along on my own, sat on a table on my own with loads of women. Nobody wanted to know me. They all just gave me a wide berth. It was really bizarre, really. And I think the landscape's changed. I really do. And I said to her, she said, anyone got any questions? And I put my hand up. I said, how do I get my bank to call me back? She said, what do you mean? I said, I'm turning over 10 million pounds and I could not get my bank to call me back. Now, I'm not even going to exaggerate the post-traumatic stress that created. All I wanted to do is find out if something had cleared. Honestly, it was so difficult. Anyway, she came up to me after and she said, how can we help? And I said, I don't know. And she said, we got this program called the Accelerator Program at NatWest. And why didn't you come along? And I was like, okay. So I went along and she said, and then obviously it wasn't Alison, it was a group of other people. This is in Birmingham. Pam Shearer, I adore. She was head of it then. And she said, what do you want to learn? I said, I want to learn all about investment. I want to learn, you know, what does all these words mean? What does it mean to take investment? And at the end of that 6 months, I went on to seek investment. But I think the difference with Absolute Collagen is we never went for investment for money. And that sounds really bizarre. We're a direct to consumer business. So we get the money up front. Well, as they buy the product, we get the funds in our accounts. I am a risk taker beyond belief.
Well, you've just done Kelly, so.
Yeah. And what Absolute Collagen would be here if I wasn't a risk taker. One of the reasons the main reason I went for investment was I wanted every single penny I spent and every single decision I made to be questioned.
Right.
It's no longer just about me. It was about the team. It was about the absoluters. I've always said every penny in Absolute Collagen belongs to the absoluters, and how can we best serve them? It's not my money. You know, I've not got 30 million pounds sat in the bank. And so my journey was very different. So we went to an investment bank, like a broker, if you like. They're like a dating agency for investors. Didn't like the first one I went with, and I was right. And I do think, you know, and it sounds really fluffy, but I talk about this a lot. I think women have got great intuition, right?
Yeah, go on your guts.
Oh my God, we so have, but we need to learn to listen to it, to recognize it and to trust it. So the first investor, he offered me 5 million there and then. And I was like, whoa, 5 million, bloody hell, that's good. Well, actually, he valued it at 5 million. He wanted to invest 3. And I thought, there's something about this guy I'm not comfortable with. Anyway, I went on to go with a company called Atlantra, who are the investment brokers, bankers, if you like. And that was about a month later, the business was valued at 42 million.
Oh,
so that guy was, you know, but at the time I was like, oh, that's really good. So the value of the business, 42 million. And I said, I wanted every penny to be questioned. I wanted every decision to be questioned. And I wanted a really good people at the top table, at the board. And I could know, so if you look at our CEO now, I'll go on to talk about that in a minute, and you look at our CFO, they would never have come to us had we not had the backing of somebody like our investor. And so the investment for us was quite easy. And I hate saying that. And I know how horrible that is. But they were investing in a business that already had a few million in the bank. And it was for different reasons. So the investment is hard, as in you have to take the main people out of the business for a period of time, because you've got 10 months of negotiating and they do their due diligence, and that is checking absolutely everything in your business and you personally. That's hard. Darcy, my co-founder, she was operations, she did the ops. Rich, Darcy's partner, was doing the finance, and Brad was doing the tech. I left them to it. And I'd say one of the things I'm really, really good at is knowing what I'm not.
mm-hmm.
And when you are that person who's also got intuition, I brought really good people on early that could really strengthen my weaknesses. And that was Darcy, Brad, Rich. So I went out and found the investor, made the decision, brought them back, and they did all the work. And that's not because I'm lazy. It's because I know my capabilities. And
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that can frighten a lot of people sometimes when you think, oh my God, in order to get the investment, I need to do this, that, and this. But look at your team. There's always someone, and actually your ability is probably a lot better than you think. But as far as investment goes, I don't think it is a one size fits all. And I think people should really question, do they want investment? Because there's different reasons, and it changes the business. There's no doubt about that. And I think we've got this buzzword now that, oh, you got to get investment, got to get investment. You might just want a lifestyle business that pays you a good wage and turns over, and you're happy with that. That's fine. And I do think that some people are going for investments for the wrong reasons. And it's scary. And I think you've got to really question, do I need this? Investment for us was right at the time. It secured the family. So the money came to the family, not the business didn't need it. And it's a totally different business today than it was because of the investment.
So, yeah, so how's that changed? Like because like for me, I run my own business, like a bit like you said, you know, you make all the decisions. And so for me, there are times when I'm making decisions about the business. I actually go to some of my peers outside of the business and just go to them and say, hey, this is what I'm thinking of doing, and get their feedback, you know, because they're not in it, so they can be objective for me and honest. But obviously, you've made all the decision to bring these people in. So how has that changed now, the dynamics from where you were to where you are and where you're going?
A lot. So if we go back to end of 2020, when we did the investment, I would say what the investor brought was really high end security, data, everything is absolutely locked down. Like everything is so secure. Everything is set up for the next event, if we have one. And that's another thing you've got to consider as well. When you go for investment, they will have, and they'll want another event in the future. And you can decide what that is as well, which we'll talk about. So I'd say the business has changed. It's got a lot more professional. They're absolutely a lot more professional. We already had a warehouse. We already did our own pick and packing. That was already in place. And the investor came in and said, should we be doing our pick and packing? Looked at the warehouse, looked at the economics and said, yeah, it's right for this business. I'd say we've got a lot more developers because we are a digital first website business. A lot more creatives. And we've got a board. So they wanted to bring a chairman who, Anthony's brilliant. I love him. He's very corporate and you've got to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
We've got a non-exec non-exec director who sits on the board, and they just got a different. You want a collectively different. If everyone was like me, it wouldn't work.
Yeah,
I can say Anthony's very corporate, and I like that because we need it.
Yeah.
I'm still the main shareholder, and I like that. Never.
I knew you would.
Yeah, never had only because of my own insecurities. I think, Jesus Christ, you know, what I keep asking, what do I bring to the business? I've said that since day one, you know.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it was your baby. You started it, you know.
And I created the market. But you need different. If everyone looks like you, the business won't succeed. You've got to have different people that look at things differently. Like we were in a board meeting, not a board meeting, a meeting with the investor, the chairman, and a few other people yesterday, and everybody had a different chip coming in, and it was really productive because of that. But so at the end of that 10-month of due diligence and speaking to would-be investors, we had 3 offers on the table. One would have grown us really, really fast. That's not what I wanted, because I wanted us as a family to enjoy the journey.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, we didn't go with the one off the most money because it was never about the money. And we went with the one I could have the most human conversations with. And that's still the right decision. And even today, I've got a really good relationship with my investor. Really good.
Because you need to be able to talk things through, don't you?
You do. And, you know, you need to build that relationship. You know, Mark Advani, who is our person that we deal with in the Live and Bridge investment, he's nothing like me. But I wouldn't have thought he was actually at the beginning. But actually, we are quite similar. Mm-hmm. And I can be very, very honest with him, and he can be very, very honest with me. And that's really important, really important. So the business has got a lot more professional. Obviously, it's grown. The team members, we've got 80 people, I think it is now. A lot of team members, a lot of noise. At the beginning of that investment journey, I said, I don't want to be CEO going forward. I was CEO. Darcy didn't want it, and she was probably too young at the time for it. Mm-hmm. And every single investor was like, hallelujah, because founders never say that. And actually, that's what we want, because there's lots of reasons for that. There's lots of things I'm not good at. Spreadsheets still blow my mind. It takes me a long time to have to work them out.
I'm really good at spreadsheets.
Oh, well done you.
I'm no good at other tech stuff, but I'm actually quite good at spreadsheets.
And I didn't want to be the one that reined people in and delivered the bad news and cracked the whip, because that's not me. I'm not like that. And I like to empower people. That's my skill. And also working with my family. So Darcy and Margot's on mat leave at the moment. but Darcy and Margot work in the business. Darcy and I are co-founders, very close. And there was just before we did the investment, she asked me a question and I answered her, and she looked at me really sad. And I said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I asked you that as a mum, you answered as a CEO." And that broke my heart. Honestly, that really did. And just, I want to have fun. I want fun. I don't want to be one cracking the whip and say the numbers aren't right, get this right, you know. So it works for us. Frances is brilliant. She put the beauty, no, she put the lingerie into M&S. She was lingerie. She put the beauty into M&S, and then she was vice president of Amazon. She's brilliant. And we get on really, really well. There's a lot of mutual respect there, and she will say that, you know, she actually says the best job she's ever had, which is wonderful. But it changes things, and I guess the negative is sometimes it feels like a really slow cruise liner. If you want to get something done, it takes a long time. Everybody's got an opinion, and there's so many decisions to be made to make one decision, and that frustrates me, but that's who I am.
Yeah, no, I get that, because it's one of the things, having come from corporate, you know, I remember those days when they say, "Oh, we're going to do this," and then 9 months later, it's still hadn't happened, and they've changed their minds and we're doing something else. Oh, for God's sake, how many meetings did we have?
Yeah. We were talking about this yesterday, Darcy and I. We were in London together, and it's been a wonderful experience. What we've all learned has been incredible. And I guess what you also need to take into consideration is the investor will want to be out at some point. So they'll come in with a 2, 3, 4, 5 year inflection point, meaning they are in for a period of time, then they want another event. Our investor were 4 years. We're now 5, and they're still really happy because we are a successful business. And we kind of control that, which is nice. And we discuss it, you know. We're always having people biting our heels, wanting to do something with us. So there's a lot of consideration. And I do worry sometimes. It's this whole investment buzzword. Every founder feels they need an investor. And I don't think it's for everybody at all.
Oh, that's good advice for people who are tuning this, because I've seen your products change, your range change, the selection now, you know, the amount that you have is quite large compared to when you first started. And has that been as a result of the investment you've had?
I think it was just natural. So everything for us is about our Absolute. How can we best serve her? The hair care range came around because when being a direct consumer business, we're very fortunate. We've got a really good relationship with our Absoluters. And as no longer being CEO, I always say I've got the Absoluter on one shoulder, because people say, "What do you do?" Absoluter on one shoulder, on the team on the other. That's all I care about. And I want to know, how does that affect them? How does that affect them? That's all I care about. And it's nice to be able to have that. And we've got a great relationship with them. So they don't always know what products they want, but they know what the issues are. And thinning hair was one of them. So we've got a trichologist on board. She's been with us since 2019, the top trichologist in the UK. So we created a thickening hair shampoo conditioner, which absolutely works. And I've not got thin hair, and I use it. It just keeps my style.
I shampooed with it this morning.
Did you? I love it. It's not for everybody. I always say that. Every product's not for everybody. You've got to find what's right for you. And the topicals, which I got behind me there, you know, the serum was the first. The Absolute is saying they want something to put on their face. You know, the Absolute Collagen supplement works from the inside, and then they wanted something on the outside. And that was just our only second product for a long, long time. Then we introduced new flavors. So lemon was our first. Then mango, mandarin.
That's one I have.
You have that one?
Yeah.
And then our new one, powder. Woohoo!
I just saw that. Yeah, I haven't tried that, because sometimes people, when I say I take it, will say they're not keen on the texture of the gel. And I think I said it takes a bit of getting used to, because initially I was like, but you know, I've just got past that now. But I think that's a brilliant idea, because I think it will overcome that objection on the texture.
Listening to consumer, listen to the Absoluters, so the topical range, you know, the night cream, the day cream, the eye cream, that all came around because she wanted it. And we've got a fantastic loyalty scheme. So if they're an Absolute Collagen subscriber to the supplement, they don't have to subscribe for 52 weeks a year. We do give them some leeway. They get a really good deal on all of our topicals, and they get like free products, like for a birthday or AC anniversary. They can pick a whole full-size product. And then the powder, again, they just wanted some people said, I can't. So the Greek word of collagen is kola, which means glue, and it's 8 grams of powdered glue, and it is thick. It's got the consistency of honey, and some people don't like it. So we wanted to give them choice. So
Yep.
and I have both, to be honest with you. What depends on how I feel. I'll send you some powder, darling.
But also, I see that you're constantly changing. So even when you change how the little top to get the top off, that's really improved, because I used to have to get scissors out to chop it off, and now I can just do it in my hands. It makes
Some people can, some people can't. I can. I just hold it tight.
yeah.
You know, you've got to keep looking at you know, and we listened to the Absoluters. Some of them couldn't undo it, so we had to do something for them. And it's all about her. And as I said, sometimes she doesn't know what products she wants, but she knows what her issues are, and we listen to them.
You can tell that, because when it changed, I was like, yay, you know, straight away I was able to pull it off. So it's that attention to the detail of changing those things for your customers. Brilliant.
You probably noticed the difference in flavour as well.
Yes, slightly.
Yeah, so we're always working on improving the flavour. It is what it is, right? I mean, the lemon's quite bitter, the mandarin's quite sweet, and then you've got the raspberry. They're all very different, but they are. So we're always working on. You can't get complacent, I think is what I'm saying.
So not being complacent, what's going to happen in the future? What are your plans? What's your vision?
Yeah, so we've obviously just launched powder. Yes, Tuesday. That's really exciting. We've got something coming on in May. I can't tell you what that's about. That's massive change for Absolute Collagen. That's something we've been thinking about for a long, long time. We've just started international. So that's working in the background. There's a couple of countries that are doing better than others. But again, that was strategic. So, and when I say we brought investors for that, so we could have just spray gunned internationally and well, which one's going to stick? But that's really arrogant to do, because it's not our money, it's the Absoluters. And pretty careful. And also a lot of work for the team. So having an investor on board made us really, really strategically do a lot of work in the background to see which countries we thought we could win in. And that's something we probably wouldn't have done. So, and we've got always got products in the background. I mean, our MPD it's there. We're really excited about what's to come later this year.
Okay, can't wait for that. And eventually, 60 next year.
I know.
Any ideas about how you'll exit eventually, when you'll hang up?
Do you know, I don't know. And I'm a bit of a wild card, really, because I quite like not knowing. It's a bit weird. And you know, 60 is no longer 60. I mean, I feel 40, and I live like a 40-year-old in some ways. And
Oh, you definitely do.
yeah, I do loads of stuff, and I'm loving life, and I love what we've created. I will carry on until they tell me we don't need you anymore, and then I'll question, is that right for me? Is it right for the team? And I don't know. I don't have any massive responsibility in the business on the day-to-day running. Which is really nice. I'm here constantly, and I can always turn up to any meeting. There's certain meetings I'm in every week, and then I can turn up to any meeting I want. I do have to be careful not to derail the team, because I am very quick thinking, I am very reactive, and ADHD, I'm always thinking outside the box. And I can really derail the team. And then I'll say, why are they all doing that? And Darcy will say, because you mentioned it in a meeting. And I'll go, what? Did I? So you have to be mindful of the power you carry when you don't know you do, to be honest with you. So I don't have a plan, and I quite like that. It might change this year, who knows? I've just had a granddaughter. I'm not ready to start knitting. Jesus, you know, that's never going to happen. That's definitely never going to happen. I think we still got a lot to do.
Well, I would have been surprised if you said, oh yeah, I'll be out in a couple of years, because knowing you, and also your energy, and you're just all over the place. You do stuff all the time, you know. So I couldn't imagine you slowing down anytime soon.
It might be something I'm doing in the background alongside Absolute Collagen, which is all about empowering women. I'm in the process. I've written a book, and I've had it for a while now, and I've not released it. and I'm thinking I might do it this year, but it's about taking women on the journey that I did. So a lot of people won't know how Absolute Collagen came to be. So I'd gone to do a fine art degree at age 49. And one of my first projects was called Dare to Go Bare. And I used to have long, dark, curly hair. And I had my hair cut really, really short. I had the colour taken out. I used to get dyed every 6 weeks, drive me mad. It went yellow, not a good look. Then I let the grey come through. I took all my makeup off. And I wore really, really dowdy clothes for 4 months. This project was all about the 4 months. So big leggings, t-shirts, baggy dresses, trainers. The whole project was, as a woman of a certain age, would I disappear in people's vision if I removed every single external mask? Well, it made me realize how desperately insecure I was. And it made me really look at Maxine. And I truly believe up to that point, I wasn't Maxine. I was whoever everyone needed me to be. And not everybody has that. My CEO doesn't understand that. She says, I've always been Frances, who I am. And we've all got our own journeys. But as a woman, as a mother, I would wake up every day and say, who does everyone need me to be today? Whether it's for my mum, my brother, when I was young, my children. And I was done. I said, well, they don't need me anymore anyway, right? It was really good timing in this whole project. You know, I used to wake up every morning and I put this make-believe onesie on. That onesie was Maxine. And I think I wanted to be Maxine for the very first time. And I didn't know what that looked like. And that's really sad. And not everybody will get that, but a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Even when you think you don't conform, if you've got children, you don't want to be the kids and the mum on school gate that's different. You will conform and you don't think you are, but I didn't have to conform anymore. And I had a little yellow post-it note on my mirror saying, you are enough. Because my inner monkey would look in the mirror and go, look at you, you look awful, you look a bag lady, you look this, you look that. And I'm just like, I'm done. And I see a lot of our absolutists going through that at a certain age.
Yeah.
You know, the children are grown up, the husband maybe was sort of thinking about retiring, and they're thinking, what about me? What am I going to do? And so that I really feel there's a purpose for me there in empowering women to really take. So I always say, whenever I give somebody a yellow sachet, I'm giving them their spotlight to see themselves. And it's not in a way like, oh my God, here I am, because women aren't like that. We're strong, but we're respectful, we're humble, we're soft, you know. So it's in a way where you step into that spotlight really quietly. And that's what I did, and went, oh my God, I am important here.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I see our absolutists go through that at this time of their lives. So I think there's something there for me. And I think there's a real calling and a real purpose there. So that's why I'm being drawn to.
Perfect. Sounds like you're on the right path.
So
Thank you, Maxine. It's lovely to catch up with you as always. And congratulations on being a grandma. New baby's gorgeous.
I'm in love. Honestly, she's adorable. She is just, oh, it's a different thing from having children. It's beautiful. And thank you for your time.
Oh no, always a pleasure to catch up with you, Maxine, as you well know. So that's it from Trailblazers Uncut. Until next time.